Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. That's Robyn.
And that's Gil.
This is Rockin the Love.
Wow. Yes, it is. We're rocking the love. And we're so glad to be with you today. We are coming to you from
two different places.
Go ahead.
I'm in Albuquerque.
And I am in California. California, where the sun shines all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's a lie, but it does most of the time. It does. It does. It's such a beautiful day here yesterday. It's just so nice. Like, even if it's dark in the morning, you can go out and it's sunny in the afternoon.
That's nice.
Yeah. But I hear that's not your experience in New Mexico.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and sunny.
Today?
And warm.
And yesterday?
80 plus degrees. Yesterday it was in the 70s. Day before that it was like 55.
When was the day when it was hailing?
Oh yeah, that was Monday. Monday, I think it. No, not Monday. This is Wednesday. Yeah. Saturday. It hailed on Saturday. That's when it was.
It's kind of wacky. And that kind of switch.
And that was the weather. It was a little bit cooler, but it wasn't that cold. But boy, was it hailing.
Mm. So we are a married couple, and we live in two different places. That's why we're talking about the weather. Because we don't know. We don't know what it's like where the other one is. But but here we are with you. And if you're here with us, we'd love to know. So put it in the chat. Just let us know you're here, where you're from. And if you want, you could even tell us the weather there. Because why not? And today, we're very excited. This month is a deep dive into purpose, passion, and possibility.
Indeed. Purpose, passion, and possibility. Wow, the alliteration is wonderful.
Thank you so much. Well, and I think though that there's a reason for that alliteration and order and things. So we're going to be discussing that all month long. But today we're going to start with purpose, and we're going to be talking about that soon. But before we do that, like us, because we want to feel liked. So click that like button. Hello, Shay. Good to see you out there. We're talking about purpose today, and Shay is someone who is on purpose. So
on purpose, absolutely.
Yeah, so it'd be great to hear from her. I didn't get to go to Shay's thing last week. I forgot I had something right after this. Did you?
But I went. It was quite wonderful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what? Tell me about it.
Well, she has a particular way of walking you through something that's going on for you and sort of diving into potentially what's coming out of your history or your ancestral history, your history, things that might be sort of triggering whatever that is. I can't explain it well because I don't know it, but what I can say is it was really good. And I enjoyed it and appreciated it a lot. So there you go.
Like family constellation stuff?
Not exactly, but
okay.
Different ways.
We'll hear more about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe we'll have to have her on to talk about it sometime.
Okay.
There you go.
Now, this is just a perfect example of marriage because one would think he might have mentioned that to me during the week, but
you would think.
But that's what you get for thinking. So what else did you do during your week that you haven't told me about?
Not a lot that I haven't told you about. I've been organizing the new garage. I've been putting up shelves. I've been wearing myself out, thinking about, just how that's going to go. You know, and doing my work, doing my thing, talking with people, getting ready to teach a class or at least to facilitate a class. So it's all normal stuff. It's good. Um, and occasionally I sit on the couch and do nothing.
Oh, that's the part I generally hear about.
Oh, that's the part you hear about.
Well, no, because you're either in the garage or you're like, I'm watching a show.
Okay.
So
I'm tired.
nothing wrong with that. However, in the 21-day consciousness cleanse that Gil is doing at his center, and in something else I was reading, it did say that like watching Netflix, going on social media, doing all those things are a distraction to getting to your soul's purpose.
Yes, and I believe that is probably absolutely accurate. And I'm working through some of that. There you go.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, my week has been good. It's been um, filled full of challenges in a good way, different challenges, different things I'm doing, different classes, and just being super focused, and also training for a new remote job that I'm doing with a friend, for a friend. And so it's been full. It's been full. And as you've heard, Gil, and as I generally often speak about, time with teenagers is always filled full of lovely opportunities. So
And
we had
unexpected experiences.
unexpected experiences. Yes. You know, that testing their wings thing, I don't know. I don't know. I think you should keep their wings chained until they're 18 and then let them fly because the trial and error in between is definitely character building.
Well, yeah, there's sort of that, the idea of the cocoon that you can't cut it open to help the butterfly escape. And some of the things that because they won't be able to fly properly, et cetera. And some of the things that we witness with teenagers were like, who cut their cocoon open because they're not flying very,
And the
very
goo's all
well.
over me. It's, it's,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, yeah. So, but this too shall pass. So, I mean, all in all, it's been a good week, and I think I feel like and I feel like in conversations with a lot of people, and Shay, let us know if you feel like this, but I feel like things are moving and shaking, like the time on the planet. I'm not an astrologer. I don't know. I know Mercury just got out of retrograde, and this and that, and eclipses and all those things. And I feel like everybody's going through this time of transition where they're really new things are happening and old things are really being let go of. Not like when we think they're being let go. We're like, yes, I'm having a new realization. And then later on you have that realization again. But like where you're really like, whoa, that one got kicked to the curb. It's kind of like driving really fast and things flying out the window. You know what I mean? No, talk to me. Don't read the comment. I said, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, he's
I
laughing
do.
because he really doesn't. He doesn't even know what I said now because I threw him off track. But I'm sure somebody listening knows what I mean. So instead, we'll read Shay's comment. So I'd love to describe and share what I do for everyone. It's about time y'all had the epiphany. Gil's issue went down from a 7 to a 0 on a 10 scale in an hour because she didn't invite. Wait, her thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gil's issue went from a 0 on a 10 scale in an
So
hour.
from a 7 of uncomfortability to a 0 of uncomfortability or pain, or however you describe it, depending on what your situation is or that you're working on, whether it's literally your arm or it's emotions or whatever.
So Shay, as I said, we'll have a guest room at our house if you want to move in. I would love it if you could just come and work with him continually. So to shift his scale.
Yeah, but that's asking a lot of someone, you know.
As is marriage. So, on that note, let's go to some good news. Do you have
Some
some?
good news.
Yeah.
All right. So, the last few days there was there's a dam in Colorado, and the person that's in charge of opening up the spillway to allow for extra, you know, to release some water from the lake, which apparently there was plenty of water to be able to do so. Noticed there were a couple of mountain lions down in the channel, and he called, you know, rangers or wildlife people, whoever the official people were, and got some help out there, and they managed. It's pretty funny. They managed to rescue these mountain lions and got them, you know, like to grab onto a rope thing and hang onto it while they pulled one of them up, and then the other one they had to actually catch because he wasn't so thrilled about that idea. They got them both up and out, and so that when it came time to, so the guy delayed releasing water until they'd handled that, and then he released the water, but he didn't want to hurt the mountain lions. And I thought it was pretty cool. And I also thought it was quite interesting to see, you know, when, you know, we see all these stories about, you know, somebody that's trying to take their selfie with a bison in Yellowstone and, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's pretty cool when you see when, you know, when people and animals are really trying to collaborate with one another to make something good happen. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. I saw that story as well. That is a really cool story. Well, my story is, it kind of reminded me of our topic today, which is purpose. And it's the story of this teenager who was very courageous in Florida. And he jumped into this fast current canal that carries the rainwater out to the Atlantic to rescue the woman he saw going down the canal. And she was floating in this inlet, and it's the most dangerous inlet in Florida due to like the rapid currents and things like that. And he's a 17-year-old. He just took off his shirt and jumped in and the canal, and he swam like 80 feet and secured her around his waist, and then like just had to power back to the wall. And even though the woman was like completely exhausted from having fought her way down, she knew not to struggle, which gave him the opportunity to just focus on his strokes and get back there. And you know, he said he just swam as fast as he could to get her, and by the time he got to her, she was just almost passed out from having struggled so hard, and getting her out of the water. And while that's amazing, I think one of the things that's really great about it is that he won the Carnegie Hero Award, as well as a local full ride scholarship to the Boynton Fire and Rescue Academy, and to cover the cost of his school there while he pursues his ambition of becoming a firefighter. And of course, he didn't do it for any of that, but I thought it was so cool, him getting rewarded for that. And, you know, he said, like, putting my life out there, the reward was that he saved a life, that, you know, but, and one of the award that he got, it was this woman, Sarah Perry, whose son had died several years before trying to save a driver who had gone out over in a car into a lake and was sinking, and he died trying to do that. And so since that day, she's managed this Good Samaritan fund that raises money and grants scholarships to students who perform heroic acts. So she gave it to him, and he was the first recipient of that.
Just kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool aspect of the story, that this mother who had lost her son, rather than being any of the things she could have been around that, like, bitter or angry that he had put his life at risk, for some stranger, she's finding a way to honor it.
Yeah.
And celebrate others who do the same. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I just love it because I really do think like it's such an example. I mean, I think it's a part of our conversation in this month of purpose and passion and possibility. It's such an example of who we are, which is part of our soul's journey, right? So we're going to explore more of that when we come back. When we're very excited to have you here with us. So don't go away. Put in the chat where you're joining us from, and we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello. Welcome back, or if you're joining us for the first time here today, I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and this is Rockin the Love, and we are excited to talk something about purpose today, right?
Yes, purpose. Purpose. We're diving into purpose, and you know, or your soul purpose, I should say. And so let's just start with that. How would you define that? Your
Your
soul.
soul purpose, not to be confused with a singular purpose, but with your soul's purpose, right? I'm just clarifying.
I know you are. Sure, not to be confused unless it's confusing and you need to make it known.
So, what's my soul's purpose? So, why am I here? I think it comes back to that basic question that so many of us ask, like, what is it that I'm here to do? Who am I here to be? Why am I put here? That's what I think about when I think about soul's purpose. Because I think of soul as that that eternal portion of who I am, that portion that continues on and on. So why has it chosen to express itself here on earth in this way as a human? What about you?
Yeah, I think what I would add to that is just eternal, and I think that really means your soul that has gone on for a long time. I don't know how long, but I think your soul's purpose. I think it travels with you and through your possibly through like your ancestry and all of that. I think that there's like a blueprint to your soul's purpose.
So would you say, based on that, that your soul's purpose is bigger than your human life, and that
I
you may
think
be
so.
trying to work it out in more than, or at least in more than a singular human life, or more than however that works out, but that somehow your soul has a purpose, and a portion of that is going to be expressed here in this lifetime.
Here on this journey, yeah, in this lifetime. Yeah, I think yes. That's what I would. Yes, that's actually exactly what I would say, pretty much.
Wow.
No,
That's so rare.
I think that I think that it's more than a concept, a spiritual concept. I think it's really each individual's personal adventure, and that it's unique to each of us. And I think every choice we make along the way shapes the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, yeah, that's what I think.
All right. So if that's the case, then are we discovering our soul's journey? What are we doing? What's our soul's purpose? Is it there somewhere for us to find? What would you say?
Well, I think soul's journey and soul's purpose may be different things. I think that, I think that the intersection of those are the I am presence. But I think that, it's different. Your the journey feels more in and out of that. I don't know that
The journey is the how, if you will, and the purpose is the what.
Okay.
Because it's what we're about is the purpose, and the journey is how does that come about?
Well, I think the journey is more of the human experience,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And well, that it's not just about the physical. You know that this stuff hurts my brain when I have to explain it, because like I just understand it cellularly, and like when I have to think about it, my head hurts. So, but I think it's about the physical experience, and then um and then it's the continuous like evolution of the growth of our soul, right? That through various different spiritual realms or incarnations, or depending upon what your thought is there, but different incarnations. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Shay says, in my experience, our soul's purpose changes is only from lifetime to lifetime, but is not only from lifetime to lifetime, but also within one's lifetime. That's why I practice life visioning frequently. There are also smaller purposes, more detailed purposes, and grand purposes. Sorry, but it's complicated.
It is complicated. Well, yeah, it is complicated.
Yeah.
And then for me, and maybe for many of you out there, there's things that being an empathic person, I can't always explain. I can't because it's just not the way I think. And if I try to explain it, it literally hurts my head. Like I said, I can feel it, I can be it, I can know it, I can trust it, but I can't explain it. You know,
Well,
I'm just saying.
that creates a little bit of a challenge for a talk show.
That's why I have
since we're
you.
talking. Yeah. Well, I think Shay's point, that I don't know how much our purpose really moves and changes as much as our understanding or our ability to understand it moves and changes. Our ability to grasp a larger portion of it or whatever changes over time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much it changes either. I don't know how much it changes. I think I have to think about that one, but I mean, I don't know. I think we have a purpose. And when you say changes, I mean, I guess it can evolve should you achieve your purpose. And so,
well, that's what I mean. We were talking about this earlier, this idea of, is it already there? Are we uncovering it? Are we discovering it? Are we creating it? And if we go with the idea that somehow we're constantly uncovering what it is that our purpose is, we're finding it, and it's we're going through the treasure chest of what is my purpose. And each time we reach in there, we pull something else out, and they may look very different, but they're part of the larger picture. And so as we continue to move forward, we continue to kind of get pieces and bits and are able to see more clearly. At least that's kind of how I think about it.
yeah. So what you're touching on is when we had a conversation about destiny. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So what part does destiny play in this? Correct?
Well, no, the point was, is there something there that we're uncovering? Does our soul purpose exist with or without us, if you will? Does it already exist?
That's a good question.
And if it already exists, then we are uncovering it. We are exploring it. We are discovering it as we move along. And we may or may not discover it. We may miss the turn and not find it, or not find parts of it, or not understand parts of it. And so we end up in places that look pretty different from what what we might have thought, or what seems reasonable for the particular purpose that our life seems to have.
Right. And I think that that's where it's interesting, though, the question about destiny, because one of the questions that we had when we just briefly talked about this was, so what part does destiny play in it? And I mean, when you say it like that, we decided that could be a whole show of its own. But I when you say that, what you just said about it being, you may complete it or you may not complete it, like what I think that's where I think destiny comes in, because I think that we're basically the architect of our own destiny, and if I think that's where we decide how much of our life's purpose we're going to fill.
And I think that's going to come down to how you define destiny and all of that, because is destiny what's prescribed for you, your destiny, or is your destiny just what you fulfill?
Mm.
And I think that's different. So Myrna commented, what did she have to say?
She said, I like what you say, but somehow my brain is not up to respond. I am taking in what you both are saying.
But then she went on.
But you see, Myrna's my people, because it hurts her head too, and she has to process. And that's how I feel. There is a part of me that thinks that purpose changes as we grow. But spirit, God's purpose for us, is to live abundantly in all areas of our lives and to share our gifts. So is that God's purpose for us? Or is that what's innately present in whatever your purpose is? Because I think that's what we embody, and that's what we're called to live into. And I think, for example, do you know what your purpose is, Gil?
In the sense of this discussion, I don't know how I would answer that.
So, for example, my purpose, I know that my purpose is to inspire people through creative means to live into their fullest potential and be their highest self, be able to see their value. And I have a really succinct way of doing it that you learn to do in a 30-second way that I have forgotten, but that's what it is. That's my purpose. So on some level, I feel like that shows up all the time in many different ways. And I'm really clear when it doesn't show up. When I go back to sometimes my teenagers, sometimes the way I respond, sometimes the way I react. I constantly question myself, am I seeing the value in them in order to allow them to see the value in themselves? But I'm fully aware that's my purpose, whether I do it on a stage acting or whether I do it writing or whether I'm doing it here, whatever I'm doing, whether I'm sitting and praying with somebody, that's my purpose. Now, there may be more that I don't know, but that's what I know of my purpose. And now that I've told you my purpose, I forgot what the point I was trying to make. Oh yeah. So through knowing that, I feel like, yes, I'm knowing to live abundantly in all areas. And that God is doing that through me, but is that our purpose? I think we have I don't know. I think each soul has a specific desire, purpose of its, I don't know.
Well, that brings up another question right there. So is our soul's desire our soul's purpose? Is when we have that desire, or we feel this drive for something, is that because it's purpose driven? What is, how do you find that?
Because that's a great question. Because I think the answer is sometimes it's purpose driven and sometimes it's not. Once again, if we use kids as an example, there's probably, a good portion of the time when it's not soul driven. It's driven by the media or what they want because their friends have it or how they, but their deepest, when they're in their deepest simple version of themselves, let's use our godson, for example. Let's use Robert. When he's in his, soul, quiet, being Robert place, he's funny. There's a part of him that wants to love big. You can pull out those qualities, I think, that are part of his soul purpose. Whether he's discovered that or not, I don't know. But, that I think that's when you see people in that authentic version of themselves, I think that's when they're living their soul purpose.
So yeah, that happens with younger people, but as we get older, it all continues, because people are doing certain things because they want to be like their friends. We've witnessed that many times. People are doing certain things because they think that the way to get money, which is the way to maintain your family, which is the way to whatever, is what's important for them. That's the key. And so rather than being purpose driven from a soul level, they're dealing with what they believe will get them the most bang for their buck, if you will, in their life. And I think we've all been in places where we've done that or where we've thought about that. And then the question is, so then what happens when we do that and we begin to realize that's what's happening? I think that's where then the soul's purpose comes in, because then we go, oh, this isn't very fulfilling. Something's missing here. So how do I find what's missing? And so then we go looking for that deeper thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to share Shay's. She says, portions of my life have been strictly for healing. Others for more growth and expansion, work, etc. It's changed for me, and now it's all integrating. And I think that's a key point. I think there is a portion, or there is, it does begin to integrate, and I think we become more and more aware, throughout the journey, and are able to integrate in a different way as well. And Myrna says, spirit in us as us. And she also says, now that kids are mentioned, then our purpose is to play, to have fun, to learn, to discover, to be. If I ask my 6-year-old what his purpose in life is, he would look at me and say, I have no idea. I am just me. And that's a great point as well. And I think that's what I think. I do think part of our purpose is to play and to have fun and to learn, And
to live authentically, to live from who we are, not from some image that we're trying to portray or some belief about how it should be done, therefore I must do it that way.
Right.
We know that there are times when there are things in our lives that would have gone much differently if we had just tried to play along with whoever else was in the room, if you will, and tried to do it the way that they would expect us to do it. And therefore we could have gotten through something differently, but would that have allowed us to expand into who we are? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know, because I think that I think that that goes to life lessons and how we receive them. Using us as an example, Gil and I are experts at doing the opposite of what anyone says.
We're
We just are.
experts.
We're experts. Well, we are. We'll pay a lot of money for training and things, and then we'll not do whatever we paid to do, because everybody else is doing it, and we have found whatever reasons or excuses not to do it. I mean, have you ever procrastinated? Have you ever, felt like that or done that? It's like, we stop ourselves. And so that, I think that goes to life lessons, like how you learn your life lessons. Had we done it, we would have been learning our life lesson in a different way, So I don't think that it keeps you, I don't know. I think there's both ways to do it. And I have lost my husband, but yet he's back. He's coming in. That was nice.
That's what you get for trying to, get the piece of hair off your screen with your thumb. It just zipped the whole thing away.
Oh God, Michael Mangus, when are you going to have a training on how to be a presenter? Yeah. So anyway, you didn't miss much. I just think that, we all learn different lessons in different ways. I don't think it's necessarily, it's obviously it's part of that's the journey. I think that's the journey, how we choose to do the journey. It's like, are you going to take the bus or are you going to take a plane?
Yeah. And because we choose not to follow somebody else's template may be an indication that we're afraid or whatever that piece is,
right?
Because it looks like that would really get us where we want to go. Or it could be because we're really expressing some authentic thing about not quite agreeing with how it's done. I mean, feeling like there's another way to express ourselves that's more genuine. And either one of those is a lesson.
Of course, it's all a lesson. It's all a lesson. So it just hit me too that we have a friend out there who may be really out there watching, and what made me think of is they're questioning their soul purpose right now, based on life circumstances. So what do you do when you question your purpose? Like, say you always, wanted to be a rock star, or you always wanted to be a teacher or a minister or a nurse, and you didn't, or the cards didn't fall in place, or the jobs didn't show up right, or it appears that you keep getting shut down. How do you decide, or how do you figure out how to stay on track?
So figure out whether that's where you need to continue, whether that's where you continue to be called, or whether you need to shift and go, this obviously not, there's something else for me, and I don't know what it is right now. And so I want to be open to that.
So how do you decide if it's your life, passion, and purpose? I mean, I know my life's passion and purpose, and I've known since I was a kid, was to be a creative, an actor, a performer, a speaker, whatever. It doesn't always look the way I want it to. Yeah, I would have preferred to have had a series on TV and been a working actor, and it looked like, like this. I mean, a constantly working actor, you know what I mean? Not that I needed to be famous, not that I needed any of that, but in my mind, the goal was to be an actor. Do I feel like that's not happening? No, I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm a creative person, and I have a lot of outlets for it. It's morphed to that, but I don't feel like that. But maybe I'm answering my own question. It's like, how do you stay on purpose if you feel like you've been defeated?
Shay mentioned earlier life visioning and some of those different things, which I think sometimes we have to step back because we have another friend who's been really exploring what's next for them as well, because things have not gone exactly as they expected, or whatever. Point being that they're realizing they really need to immerse themselves in looking at what is their call, what is that purpose that's calling them forward. And I think that's a challenge, because sometimes we think we know what it is, and then stuff gets in the way, and then we have to make the decision: am I holding on to this for because I'm unwilling to see the other ways in which it shows up, or am I holding on to this because I know this is the truth, and I just know I have to hang in here? And I think that's where it gets really hard. I mean, that I've been through that, and having to figure out how serving people and being in some kind of ministry looked in different ways,
Yeah.
and that I could see it happening. I could see it happening in glimpses and glimmers in anything that I was doing. But in terms of it being a career or something like that, it wasn't there for many years. Many years.
Right. But it wasn't there because of your choice.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I don't think for those many years you were actively pursuing what you wanted to do. Whereas I feel like the people we're talking about are actively pursuing what they want to do. I feel like you took a break in between and just went into your funk, and that there were no active steps. I don't know, maybe in your head there were steps, but there was no active pursuing or going out looking for a job like that or any of those things for a long time. So, I mean, I think
right. My sense of active pursuing was a lot of seeing what was showing up and when it was time for it to show up.
right. Well,
Yeah,
your sense of actively pursuing was getting out of bed in the morning, and that was big enough for you at the time when you were depressed, which is understandable. But so in the interim, like, what do you do? I mean, I guess you just, I guess it's really just about being still and listening and going to that place where you just keep listening.
listening for the inner knower that knows, and that knower knows the timing.
Right.
I mean, I never said I'm not going to do this. I just didn't know how it was going to show up. And I did try some other things. We did do some other stuff, and we did a lot of different directions in terms of doing this kind of thing. In fact, we spent some of that money exploring ways to be in the world, in a different way around it.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
And Shay says that I would look at the funk as divine timing, healing space, etc., completely necessary. I'm gonna put your number on speed dial when there's that healing time, because sometimes yes, I understand it was my time to whatever, learn, grow. Yeah, well, it's an interesting concept. I mean, it's all I think that, in order to find your soul's purpose, I think that's the key. You need to be still, you need to listen, you need to journal, you need to meditate, you need to walk in nature or connect to whatever it is that gives you that feeling of connection. Because I think that's where it starts, to being able to know and feel your soul's purpose. And by the same token, I realize when one is in crisis, that may not be, you don't want anyone telling you to journal.
Well, and I think there's a very interesting intersection of that and opportunity. Meaning what's in the moment in front of you, how do we perceive that? You know, do we have such a defined picture of what we think this purpose is that we keep ignoring things that could be on the path for us, or could be taking us to some portion or some way of expressing that purpose that we don't understand or, didn't think of?
Right. And are we willing to change our parameters around it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to share with you two things. One is a quote from Marianne Williamson, who says, "The purpose of our lives is to give birth to the best which is within us."
Indeed.
Yeah. And then we're about to go, but I want to, so I just want to talk for a minute, and then I'll leave you with another poem, but about can you name people that you think are living their purpose?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were asking our listeners.
Well, I'm always asking them, but I'm asking you. Oh, Michael, help.
Yeah, there's probably a couple I could name.
Oh, we'll do it.
Well, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay. Oh my God. All right. Well, I think the person I would name, I've thought of both positive and negative people that I think are living their purpose. I think Taylor Swift is living her purpose. And I think it's huge. I mean, it's huge. Like her, don't like her, doesn't matter. I mean, just the amount of people and lives and things that she does and has affected. I think she's living her purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Did you think of anyone you're comfortable mentioning?
Well, I'm just thinking about, that I don't know. I was thinking about individuals that I know. So, yeah.
Oh, personal people?
Yeah. I wasn't thinking about people living this big out loud purpose out there.
Oh, well, I was thinking of people that everybody could relate to. Who else did I think of? Well, then I started thinking about the people that aren't necessarily positive and thinking about them like Hitler, like presidential candidates, like are they, but, on some level, I think that, they live their purpose too, whether I agree with them or not. On some level, I think, what is their purpose? To wake people up, maybe to, I don't know. It's a bigger conversation, but what do you think?
Yeah. So to bring forth the energy, whether positive or negative, that exists, so that all of us can observe it and realize what needs what. Where is the love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, we had Marianne Williamson standing in that as a presidential candidate, and we have others standing in the hate. Right. And the amount of people that are attracted to the hate is a very strong indicator of how much healing needs to happen.
Yeah.
And that may be their purpose, is to bring that to the forefront.
Yeah. I just want to acknowledge Rev Robert is living his purpose, and Shay says that everyone is living their purpose if they're alive. Yeah. That's true. And the differentiation, the difference thing I was making was just the ones that we could see and feel and could, and are doing are I don't everyone is living their purpose, but not everyone is on purpose. Or on the target track that they might want to be on or discover or anchor in the world. Not that I know it can't be wrong. I'm not saying that it can be, but I think there's an awareness within us when we feel aligned with our purpose. And so, like, how do we align with our purpose so that we feel, we are taking it out into the world in that way?
What strikes me is are there ways for us to be living in our purpose, but from a misunderstanding of how that should look? It's a thought, not for today.
So there you have it. A lot of thoughts not for today, but the thought for today is to rock the love, everybody. And, just take it out and just, work with it, be with it. Yes, we're all living our purpose. And are we living into our purpose? Are we living into our purpose or our passion? And think about that. And what can we do to do more of it? And in the meantime, if you rock the love, you are living into your purpose, because that's why we've come. So rock the love, everybody. Thank you. Nice to see you, Fatina and Shay and everybody out there. Myrna. See you next week.
Rock the love, everybody.
Rock it.